Hey, so it looks like I thought I was live, but looks like I'm live now. I was just talking, thinking I was already on, but I don't think I was on. So I hope that I'm on now. Yep, looks like I am live. Okay, so what we're going to go over today is we're going to go over cost reports, Texas Medicaid cost reports. So we know that cost reports were due April 30th. So it just passed. So let's just have a little discussion about how it went for you, the good, the bad. Did you send your cost report out? That is well. And if not, why? Um, my name is Shavis. I'm a financial strategist that works with home care agency owners. I help agency owners increase revenue by 25% or more with organized accounting and financial strategies. So that's a little bit about myself. But let's go ahead and get into what we're going to discuss today, which is the Texas Medicaid cost reports. Now, for those who don't know that much about cost reports, a cost report, it gathers the financial and statistical information for HHSC and for the provider finance department to use. They use the information to determine and develop reimbursement rates. So, if you are in the Medicaid program, you know that you receive that they assign rates, like which is a unit, sometimes hourly, sometimes per individual. I mean per individual that you have. That like your days of service, and so you'll have that, and they determine the rates that will be associated with each unit. They used to be called rate analysis. When I look them up, I still use rate analysis as my search engine. But the new name that they just came up with probably like a year or two ago is the provider finance department. And as you're coming in, feel free to ask any questions as we're going through. I believe I can see everything over here during my chat. So if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll address them while we're in the chat. So yeah, so that's the purpose of the cost report. Um, So let's go over, being that we just finished preparing our cost reports, I think right now is the great time for us to have a discussion on what can we do? What did we notice this year? And what can we possibly do in order to make cost report season go a little smoother? We know that cost reports are due every other year. So the cost reports that were due for this year, where they're due 2024, where your 2024 cost reports are due in 2025. And so therefore we know that next time was going to be for this group of programs, the next cost report will be due in 2027 for the 2026 cost reports. So some things that we can work on now, and this is just for there were 12 programs, I believe, that were required to submit the cost reports. And so, with that being said, these included like residential care facilities. Residential care facilities include assisted living facilities. You have your home and community service, home and community support services, which includes your group homes, with some other ones. I believe the nursing facility, but it was a number of cost reports that were due. I know the HCS, the RCs. Let me see if I can find that list. And you should have received a letter as well from the letter comes from Fairbanks. And so Fairbanks is pretty much the software you use to create. because the software you use is theirs, but Fairbanks is over that software. So the email you receive, the notifications you receive, is from Fairbanks. You would think it's coming from HHSC, but it's actually coming from Fairbanks. So if you miss the emails, try to look in your spam or look do a search for Fairbanks to so you'll make sure you're receiving the letters from HHSC in regards to your cost report. And so I was able to find it. Yeah, we have our residential care facilities, our nursing facilities, which is the nursing homes, the HCS facilities, which is your home and community-based services. And it's a list of others that are in here that are due as well. So if you did receive that letter, you'll see um, the list of cost reports that are due. The other programs should still receive a letter, especially if you have to submit an accountability report as well. An accountability report is if you are a part of the rate analysis program. And so, yeah, so we know that these cost reports were due, but what are some of the things that we can possibly do to make the process a little smoother? And I have a list here that I've come up with. Well, just a few things I jotted down that I wanted to go over. And one of them would be to become familiar with the report specific instructions. And so the cost report specific instructions, this is like your go-to when it comes to filing your cost report. I was an auditor with HHSC for 5 years. And so one of the things that we would during our audit, one of the main documents we would use to help us like determine if something was reported correctly or if it was an error or if it wasn't a part of the TAC rule. One of the things we would go to is the cost report specific instructions, and you have one for each program. This can be found in the see, I want to say rate analysis website, but it's not rate analysis website, it's the provider finance department website. So you can actually go to the website and find a ton of information. But one of the things you will find there is your cost report specific instructions for each program. And so this is while I was an auditor, even while I'm now on the other side in helping home care agency owners, helping them prepare cost reports and make sure their financials are in order for cost report purposes and for their businesses as well, not just cost reports. But one of the things I go to for cost reports is the TAC rule, or is the not I'm sorry, not the TAC rule, but the cost report specific instructions. And it does have like the TAC rules there. And this is one of the better this is way easier to read than if you were to go look up the TAC rule. And the TAC rule, let me break that down for you as well. For those who don't know, the TAC rule is a Texas administrative code. So in the TAC rule, the Texas Administrative Code, there actually a list of guidance. This is where you actually go to. Um, it's the codes to let you know how things should be reported when you are a part of one of these state programs. So that's to break that down. And one of the things that another thing I want to go over. So that's number one that can help you when it comes to preparing your cost reports a little bit more smoothly than what you possibly have been doing is to look at the cost report specific instructions. Now, another one we will go over is record keeping. You know, I am about keeping our financial records in order. And so, but it is important for your cost report to have your financial records in order. And this is because one of the things that you would notice in preparing a cost report is that it is good to have a crosswalk. So, the crosswalk is from your financial records and it will change your financial information into the cost report information. And what I mean by that is that what your financial records, for instance, you may have your food supplies in your financial records for your business. You may have your food cost. You may have supplies. You may have small equipment. So you have three line items for your food cost, for your food and supplies. But when it comes to the cost report, when you report this as on a cost report line item, it's just going to be one line item, which I believe is going to say like food supplies or food and supplies. So the crosswalk would have like these, your financial records would show on one side with the three line items of accounts that's reported. And then it will walk you over to how it should be reported on the cost report, which is one line item. And so this will help the auditor who's ever reviewing your cost report. It will help them be able to understand the meaning of your numbers, which is important because this will cause you to have less audit questions when your report is audited. Um, Trial balance, the working trial balance. That's something else I wanted to mention as far as record keeping goes. It is a requirement and it is in specific instructions. It is a requirement that you have a trial balance. That trial balance bottom line should match the summary or match your cost report. I like to review the summary part of the cost report. And I review the summary report like towards the end, just to make sure that my numbers do reconcile with my financial records, to my business records, because that's one thing that we have to be able, or the auditors have to be able to reconcile your cost report to your trial balance or to your financial records. So make sure that you have an accurate crosswalk that explains your financials. And even though a lot of your accounts that you keep for your on your books, some of those accounts may be unallowable. So become familiar with what is allowable on the cost report and what is unallowable on the cost report. And even though some of these line items may be unallowable, um, you still have to report it. They still have a line on the cost report for unallowable cost. So even though you may have some items within your financial records that cannot be reported on the cost report, the bottom line should still be the same because they have an area there for your unallowable um financial unallowable costs, unallowable expenses. So um, let's see what else. Let's see, do I have any questions? No questions. Okay, so I think that was because I wanted to cover the crosswalk, the work and trial balance, record keeping. Oh, and one other thing I would like to point out before I actually get off is um how long you should keep your cost report. So you should keep your cost report for 7 years, up to 7 years. So if your cost report supporting documents, let me make that clear. Your supporting documents, you should keep on file for 7 years. So be mindful of that as well. So that's why it's so important to have your financials in order, especially, with you being in a program, a Texas, a state program, and also because of you're in business and that's part of it. When you're in business, you're required to keep organized financial records. Um, let's think what else. I think that was it. I would encourage you all to take a look, to go to the website for the provider finance department. Go to that website because it has a lot of useful information. And if there's anything else you would like for me to cover in the future, just send me a message and let me know. If you need some help, if you have not filed your cost report just yet, I know that the deadline was April the 30th, but you should have received a letter and they should give you a little bit of grace period. I believe they give you an additional 15 days in order to file your cost report. So if you haven't filed it yet, then get it in as soon as possible before they close theirs and before they don't allow you to submit your cost report anymore. And you don't want to lose your vendor hold. You don't want to get on vendor hold. You don't want to lose your funding. So just make sure you do that. If you need some help with it, I'm here to help. My name is Shavis Watkins. I'm with 10 Key Professional Services. My information is available. Please contact me and we can talk about it. And as always, if you have any questions, just let me know that as well. I will answer them. And let me know if you have any other things that you would like for me to go over with you when it comes to the home care industry and their financial records, cost reports, even tax um, tips and tricks for taxes. That'd be a good tips if I could say it. Tips and tricks on taxes. I like that. But yes, but yes, so it was nice. I enjoyed speaking with y'all today, and I will be back on soon. Maybe I'm looking to be on like every week, if not every week, every other week. So just be on the lookout. Subscribe so you can get the notifications. All right, and I guess that's it. If Thank you for joining. Thank you for looking at this live. Thanks. Bye.